I still can be a liability, but it's nowhere near as much. But I still don't know whether it's the addiction in me, why I can't say I'll never drink again.
Welcome to Confessions of a PT, back with another episode this week where we are going to be talking about alcohol and the fine line that is some weekend drinking and problematic behaviour with alcohol, which can often get blurred for a number of people. I'm here with my good friend, Mr. James McCallion. How are you doing?
Mr. Cal, very good. How are you, my man?
I'm all right, thank you very much. So, I'm not much of a drinker, so I'm going to let you kind of jump in on this one and lead us off and get us off to a good start.
Yeah, so going to get quite sort of deep and emotional on this one. I think anyone that's sort of known me a long time will know just how much of a loose cannon I am. My drinking back in the day was quite horrifying, and I'll sort of take you back to sort of when, and I'm hoping if anyone sort of watches and listens to this can sort of get a bit of value from it, of how it doesn't always have to be that way. So rewinding back to when I started drinking, obviously for most people it's going to be around 18, but when I went to university, was when it really got really bad with like severe confidence issues, almost like massive imposter syndrome. I had my first panic attack 2 weeks into university, which is where I say the addiction, but my drinking got so bad, and not a lot of people know this. So we had to do a presentation to the uni around peripheral vision when you play tennis, and it was 3 of us, and it was when I had to go on stage, and my whole body just shut down. I had severe shakes, like claustrophobic, couldn't speak, my voice broke. I had to like basically get laughed off the stage, and that was like the biggest trigger for me. Like the worst feeling I feel is being embarrassed, and I was like, I never want to feel like that again.
Was this because you'd been drinking?
No, I wasn't drinking then.
Right.
I was just like, and that's where like my severe confidence issues, because I'd always felt confident in like what I was learning now, but I just froze. I was like, it was first time public speaking, and I was like shaking, and I was first to speak, and literally it was like my voice was breaking. I was like trembling, and I was like, and it was paralyzing, and it was like my first experience of that, and I just didn't know what to do. So I walked off, like everyone was like laughing, jeering, and yeah, because I never stayed down at university. I went to Southampton Uni, so I stayed at home, bit of a mummy's boy. And I think that was a big factor because I didn't do like Freshers Week. I was always popular in like school and college, but university was very different for me because I wasn't that, I say alpha male like lightly, but I was always like popular, always like, yeah, just liked by everyone. And university just wasn't like that for me at all. Anyway, like going around the bush here. So the next study we had was around sort of politics and sport, and basically the presentation I did, the next one, I just got back from drinking at 5 a.m. in the morning, and my lecture was at 9, smashed it. So that correlation for me that I was still drunk, had no anxiety. But this led me on to then, when I studied sport at university, and I went out the day before my exams, and I actually got like brutally attacked. So I got my cheekbone broken, fractured my nose, was blind in my left eye, like woke up in hospital 3 days later, and I was like, what the fuck? So I missed all my exams, and this was the main reason I dropped out of uni.
Oh, wow.
So where I studied sport, there was only one paper, and obviously missed all the exams because I was a fucking idiot, and the choices were redo the whole year or do a different course. And I was like, I've just ruined a whole year at uni for who does that going out? But I was just so obsessed with drinking, and my attendance at uni was 9%, and we only had uni 6 hours a week because I just could not stop. I loved the confidence that alcohol gave me. It wasn't the fact I enjoyed it. I was just so shy, and people would see me now and they just wouldn't think that, but I had severe, like I said, anxiety. I couldn't speak to like people, or just I was very shy. I couldn't make eye contact. It was like very bad. Anyway, so dropped out of uni. I then did a 6-week intense course to be a PT. Same thing sort of happened, is when I was on my course, we had to go up to the front of the classroom. The same feelings around uni were coming back, like trembling. So I ended up used to have alcohol in my car wherever I went. I'd always take a bottle of vodka with me, and I go in my car, I'll do like two, 3 shots of vodka, and then I go back in, and I'm like, I'm on a fucking PT course.
Wow.
And it's so bad, and I look back at it now and I'm like horrified. But for me, nothing else would matter as long as I didn't feel embarrassed. It was a sole drive. I had to be seen to be confident, like authority like stance, and I didn't care like what risk it was. Do you know what I mean? I was fucking driving around, I was like teaching, and I even started doing that when I qualified as a PT. So I didn't have a client for a year and a half when I qualified as a PT, like 18 months. Like I used to tell people I wasn't a PT because I'd be like, oh my God, no, go to, there was 2 other PTs that were like quite good. I was like, go to them. And then I basically got put by one of the instructors with my first ever client. Again, couldn't sleep, was having panic attacks. It was 6 a.m. So I was all through the night, couldn't sleep. I woke up at 4 a.m., did my typical 2-3 shots of vodka, and just going into the gym like pissed. Not pissed, but just basically merry. And then it was like the best session ever. And I just had that for, again, I think I did that for like another 6 months. And a turning point for me was I used to, again, because we used to have a diary of like, because I was fitness instructor and a personal trainer, and we'd have a diary of like inductions, like show rounds, programs, and that, and I'd always write in fake names 2 weeks in advance. So because I was petrified. I couldn't speak to people, and it's like so strange. And then one day, and this was a big turning point in my life of why the drinking got less, the spinning instructor cancelled. And I was the only person that had a spinning qualification as well that was available to do it. And the class was in 5 minutes, and my area manager come through and was like, one of you needs to take it. James, get in there and get ready. And I was like, just got to go to my car. And he was like, no time. Straight in there. Oh my God. I was like white as a ghost, shaking, like almost going slow motion in there. But then something like weird happened. Like 5 minutes into it, I see people like enjoying it. I was getting into it. And then that, for me, doing it sober was the catalyst where I was like, oh my God, I don't genuinely like need to have this. But I'm so glad that happened, because if I didn't, and it was just, I look back now and I'm like, one, it's like the most unprofessional thing ever, but I was just this shy, just unconfident, like, and I don't know where that come from with like the whole imposter syndrome. I don't know if it's because I did a 6-week course where you don't get basically taught fuck all. I mean, we were guaranteed a job at the end of it. I did it with a company called The Training Room. But what they didn't tell you is that the job was guaranteed at Fitness First, where you had to pay them £600 a month rent. So then I was like 19, obviously dropped out of uni after a year, no confidence, hated the way I looked, my body. I was like, always get called skinny. I'd like no muscle mass, and just didn't know what I wanted to do. And I just thought I'd like ruin my life by drinking at uni. And I was like, I couldn't see a way out of it. And like my dad and most of my family suffer with alcoholism. But it was just, no lie, I think from 18 to probably 25 or 24 maybe, near enough every weekend without fail. And I mean blackout drunk. Like anyone, I don't know anyone worse than me, like being a loose cannon that just loses all their friends. I'm just a liability, like mess. I'd go missing, blackout, bankrupt myself. I remember like waking up and my overdraft was like maxed out. I'd maxed out my credit card. I couldn't afford to eat on the Monday and Tuesday. And it was so bad. It's so embarrassing looking back now. I remember because I used to get paid by clients on a Monday and I'd spent all my money. So I'd woke up, like I'd gone on a 3-day bender, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, woke up severe anxiety, like couldn't even go outside. I was like, I need to go and do these clients because I need money to eat. It was that bad. And I'm sure you've had this with all the clients. They were like, oh, can I pay you Wednesday? I haven't got any money. And I'm
It's always when you need it most that seems to happen.
I'm like, I can't eat there. And I'm like, how have I put myself in that position? By drinking myself into oblivion, like not even caring or not even knowing what I'm doing, at a detriment for me eating the next day. I just think that it's chaos. And it was just a pure thing of confidence. And when it goes on to like obviously being around like women and everything like that, for me, I loved the thought of people thinking I was like the top dog, loud, confident and that. And I wasn't really like that. I'd say now, so I've become like this JMT personality, which is my normal now. But back then, I like adopted an alter ego. I used to call myself Mad Max, and it was so bad. It's ridiculous, mate. But I genuinely used to speak to myself being like, is Max here? Like, Max is here. And it'd be like drinking. And I'd have that conversation with myself before I went and trained clients, because Mad Max was confident. He would smash the PT session. He would earn me money. Whereas James would almost cost me money, be embarrassing, shy. And I was like, I don't want to be this fucking shy little boy. I want to be Mad Max. And it sounded stupid at the start, but then my friends started calling me Mad Max, and they'd be like, we want Max. And it was just like, it sounds so stupid. Like, I'd say this story to myself now, but for years it was to the point where it was manageable, and then it started getting stupid, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday all the time, like you said. And then it was a blackouts for me that were like so bad with it. Until then, my kids, I think, were the best thing that sort of saved me, because it was that responsibility. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's always in me still now. My relationship with alcohol is 20 times better. I still can be a liability, but it's nowhere near as much. But I still don't know whether it's the addiction in me, why I can't say I'll never drink again, when I know the catastrophic elements of what that does. I upset my family, lose friends, my business suffers, I upset people that mean a lot to me. But I just know deep down still, I'm like, I'm fine with it. Like, I'll be okay next time. And that is, and then my dad's been sober now. Dad stopped drinking when I was 10, so 23 years. Oh, wow. And he lost his whole family with drinking. And not saying I was like that, because I think, and my nan said it, there's different types of alcoholics. You've got people that drink every day. You've got people that are bingers. People that aren't even aware that they're addicted, where they think they're in control of it, but they're not really understanding the consequences of what it's doing to their health. And but yeah, I've upset and lost so many people along the way, like, because I'm not in control. And people are like, you can't really black out. People think you're lying when you black out. Trust me when I say I have just woken up in some horrific situations, being like, how the fuck have I got here? Like, woken up naked, woken up with like one shoe on, lost all my wallet. I remember giving a tramp like £500 before, and like and I'm just like, it really is horrifying. So yeah, I think for me, I did 9 months sober the first time where I stopped drinking, and I didn't realise how fucked I was Monday to Thursday, mentally, physically, not hating my life, but just a corpse recovering only to do it again on Friday. And I think for anyone listening to this, when I did that first month, I was like, oh my God, I actually like my life. I actually improved all my relationships, and I never forget it. So the clients I was speaking about on the Monday session, when I did my first month sober, first stint sober, they were like, what's happened to you? Like, you're a completely different person. Like, you're glowing, you're happy. And it was because I was always going in. Like I said, I did like 7 years of just ruining my body. And then that's when I started improving the business. That's when I started improving at training. I felt my skin getting better. Relationship with just everything was so much better. And I think it's having an understanding that we're all ashamed to admit we've got a problem. It's like that, again, sense of failure, embarrassment. But for me, I started losing friends over it as well, because they didn't want to go out with me. And I remember catching my friends out in town, because I would always be like, on Friday, like, oh, let's go and get fucked up. And they were like, oh, we're not going out tonight. And I ended up going out on my own, which is, again, embarrassing, just to see who was out. And they were all out. And that fucking hurt. And I was like, wow, why are they doing that? And then one of my mates was like, Macca, you're a fucking mess. He's like, you're a mess all the time. He's like, you're embarrassing. You go 0 to 200. Yeah. And I was like, fucking hell, they're meant to be my best friends doing that. And that was, again, a realization, like, oh, they got the problem, not me. Well, fuck them. Like, they're missing out. And when I like really look at it, and then again, I think love my kids more than anything. And it's just, do I want them to grow up seeing or knowing that version of me? Like, their obviously future hasn't been wrote yet, but I don't want them to be growing up thinking, oh my God, my dad's an absolute mess, and potentially even doing something that could be catastrophic. Do you know what I mean? I remember, like, one of the worst things is I woke up at the side of a train track at Reading train station, sleeping, 7:30, like everyone walking around me. And I'm thinking, honestly,
on the platform,
on my son's live, I was probably here from that door, got the yellow lines, asleep on my side. And I'm like, I've woke up and I'm thinking, how the fuck have I got here? Like, no idea. Christ. Do you know what I mean? All the people, obviously, I don't expect anyone to make sure I'm all right, but like it was it was like, what would I have been Saturday morning, because I went out on the Friday. And I'm thinking all I had to do was roll when you sleep.
You lose your bed disorientated, yeah.
Just, like what you said at the start, like for me, I was like, I'm just having fun. But it had such a grip of my life with my headspace and feeling like I'm a failure. And like I used to do it because I was like, I wanted to improve my confidence. But until I got away from that and realised I didn't need the alcohol. And like I said, I'm so grateful for my job as well, because it's built me confidence to do public speaking, really good people that you're genuinely touching and transforming lives. And I don't need to be that idiot. And there's a couple of like times my clients have seen me drinking and they're like, oh my God, like, who are you? That's not the person that we know. And it's not, and my family say that as well. And it's just like, to have that disattachment with, I'm so lucky, because I was on a very, very, very bad path. Like I said, it was financially crippling myself every weekend, but didn't care. Lived for the weekend, couldn't wait. I couldn't sleep on a Thursday night because I was so excited to wake up just to get absolutely pissed out of my face. And that's not normal. And I think that's what I want to say to people listening to this. Like, if your thought process is to get absolutely, excuse my French, bollocksed when you do it, why? Like, what are you running away from? And it's a very powerful question. That was for me, like, why am I doing that? Like, feeling like shit, just like hanging out my ass, hating my life Monday to Friday, not sleeping, not socializing. And that for me, the social anxiety was getting worse and worse. And that's why, like, just taking that bottle of vodka around everywhere I'd go, like everywhere. It was always embarrassing going in the shop to buy it, because the woman would be like, fucking, it would always go to the same little corner shop because I didn't want anyone to see me. And just keep it in my fitness bag wherever I went. And I'd always like disappear and come back like, it was like, you know, like stars in their eyes, where it was like, tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be. I'd go in like, oh my God, like not being able to look at anyone, and come back like, who fuck it wants it then? And it's like, I don't know if anyone did notice. I think, I'm not saying I'm an alcoholic, but a good sign of someone that has an addiction, they're very good at hiding it.
Yeah, big time.
Very, very good at hiding it. And I was like a fucking pro at hiding my addiction. But like I said, it wasn't that I was like, oh my God, I need a drink. It was purely, I was so shy, so scared of just human interaction. The drink was what gave me confidence. And I wouldn't care what it was, like, just what implications, as long as I didn't get embarrassed.
That's what really stands out to me. Like, the nature of all addiction is, you know, it does give you something on the front end. And there's times back at uni where, whether it was a bit of Dutch courage or something like that, it definitely feels like it's changing your state for the better. And it will make sense to do it because you don't have the anxiety, you don't have that time where you're, you know, real panic attack on stage, you're a bit more mellowed out. So it's kind of like, why aren't I going to continue to do this? And it's like, it keeps working until it doesn't.
Yeah.
And then that's where you kind of all got to do like the inner work, because it's like, okay, well, what was this giving me? How else can I source that, or where else can I get that feeling from, or that reduced anxiety, or that more self-assurance, or that kind of thing? Because I can't keep just substancing without it going wrong somewhere.
Yeah, and I think people obviously speak about anxiety a lot more now, and it's understood a little bit more. I didn't know why I was having these feelings, and see, that imposter syndrome was like huge. I didn't even know about it back then. I was like, I shouldn't be a PT. And I remember one of the best conversations we had, I think I reached out to you because I'd had a bad bender. I think it must have been about maybe 2 years ago. And you were always like, and it was the first time, like, literally my business went like this, and you're like, about self-sabotage. And I don't know, it was like, I don't deserve to be in this position. Like, I was earning the most amount of money I've ever earned. I was like, fucking hell, I'm on cloud 9 here. And everything was just great. And then I had that, and then it was just like, boom. And I'm like, why have I done that? I didn't need to do that. And it was just not even planned. And I think that's the thing. I would always have that mindset, like, I'm going to be all right this time. Like, I've got control over it. And it went from 0 to 500. Same old situation, same old me that just ruined everything. And then coincidentally, obviously dropped the ball with business, clients and everything. And then it just brought me back. And that made my anxiety like even worse. But yeah, I think self-sabotage is a very real thing, when it's almost like, and I think when people see successful people, they're like, oh my God, they're smashing it, their mindset is like strong. Like, we all have them mental doubt struggles, like daily.
You've got to do that inner work, because otherwise you'll get what you think you're worth. And if you only think you're worth this and you start to get this, you'll find a way to mess it up so that you get this, because this is more comfortable than this. And it's like, it sounds weird, like it's like, well, who doesn't want more money, more freedom, more things, more exposure, more whatever? It's like, well, logically the answer is everyone to an extent. But it's like, if you believe that that's going to be harder to, it's more of a challenge for your identity, or it's going to be harder work, or it's unfamiliar or something like that, then you would rather have what you know down here. And it doesn't matter if you've got to drink yourself to a stupor to get there, hemorrhage all your money to get there, start being lazy, start procrastinating. It's crazy topic that is. Oh, I really appreciate you sharing that, mate. What a story. That's a big one, I think, because it's one of those ones where hopefully there'll be someone listening to this that on one hand there's that lower consciousness mode of can't wait to get on it Friday, and it's like there'll be something in them somewhere that's just gnawing away that was probably in you, that was just kind of like, on the surface I don't mind a bit of that, but I know this is masking something, or this is starting to spiral out of control, or this is becoming too regular, and maybe I need to look at that. And I think sometimes when it's a good reason to, because it's so normal, alcohol, isn't it? It's everywhere.
And I think that's it. I thought, I was so embarrassed about what I was doing. I'm like, oh my God, if anyone knew about this, like, it's disgusting. But I remember, like, someone said to me, like, if you're doing it, someone else is doing it.
Yeah, big time.
And if not worse. And I was like, fucking hell,
There's probably 5 people that we both know doing it that don't look like, we couldn't tell you who they are, but they're doing it. Like,
but I remember when I've spoken, not obviously to this extent, but I've spoken about it a couple of times on stories, and the amount of messages, like, and again, obviously I won't name them, but like people that you wouldn't even think, and people say that about me, like I tell these stories and they're like, you would never be like that if they've met me in like the last 2-3 years or whatever. But yeah, it was a whole, I mean, I won't obviously go into how bad it like really got, but it was crazy bad. Crazy.
Well, let's use this, kind of normalise this topic a bit more and make this something that people do talk about. Like I say, really appreciate you sharing that. What a great episode. And I'll sign it off there then, guys. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one very soon. Take care.